Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for tuning in this morning to Lions Talk Live. Hey, we got a bunch of things happening here today. We're getting one step closer, one day closer to Monday Night Football, but also to the NFL trade deadline. If you guys weren't aware of the Lions, hey, we're in a little bit of a playoff push here. We're in a little bit of a division push. So there's a lot of things that are going to come up in the next couple weeks. Yes, after Monday Night Football, the Lions are lucky. They got a bye there. Hey, we're getting healthier, but that bye just seems like it's ideally placed for us to have a little bit of an ideal time to try to rest and recuperate. I know there's some people asking about what are we going to do now that Marvin Jones is gone? What are we going to do as far as replacing him? It'd be my guess at this point that the Lions are going to probably just look to go in-house, maybe add somebody to the practice squad, maybe even pick somebody up from somebody else's practice squad. But if you look at the free agents out there ain't a whole lot. Yes, they did bring in Tom Kennedy. There's talk about his return. But even if he does return, my guess is he's probably a practice squatter as well. All right, I see the chat's already blown up, but you guys know before we get into all that, a couple things I got to do real quick. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, if you would consider doing just that. We're, I don't know, something like 30 away from hitting 4,000. Really trying to get there, maybe even 4,100 by kickoff on Monday evening. With that also being said, if you would hit the like button, you guys probably already know it. You've heard it from 40 different people, I'm sure, at least if you've watched YouTube. But both of those metrics help push the content out to a wider and wider audience. So the more people like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz, it gets pushed out more and more. Real quick, in case you also didn't know, one of my 50 billion jobs is that I am a realtor. I've done it for over 30 years. Zillow top premier agent, et cetera, et cetera. I work throughout the state of Michigan, throughout Lower Peninsula, Upper Peninsula, specialty properties. So like survival, fallout shelters, things of that sort. Regular homes, vacant land, farmland, developmental properties, condos, business sites, etc. If you're looking for somebody who's going to work on your behalf and save you money, go ahead and give me a call, 269-998-2384. All right, now with all that boring stuff out of the way, let's get to the comment section. I see it's moving. Quentin Gay, good morning to you too. Hope you're having a good one. Kurt, it is not Monday yet, but I do like the icon. I am a big Batman fan as well. Bergs, good morning, Dan, and fellow Lions faithful. Good morning to you, Bergs. Randy, greetings and salutations to you too, Randy. Yeah. Vendigo News, any trade speculation, Coach Dan? There's been a little bit more here and there. I would say this. It seems like, we talked about it, a couple days ago here when I got some of the information that the Lions are talking with the Commanders about a couple different scenarios. It seems like a lot more of the media is picking up on that in the last 24 hours. So I saw, was it Pro Football Focus, said they heard that Allen had been in, the Commanders had been in conversations with the Lions about Allen. Heard the sweat to the Lions rumor pick up. So, whether you like the commentary I offer or not, it does seem like the national media picked up on that about a day after we talked about it here. So I would say this. I think the Lions are legitimately trying to make a move for a couple of specific players. I do want to try to do a video later today. Maybe I'll try to do it around noon or 12:30. I'll try to put it out an hour or two ahead of time so you guys will see it if you have your notifications on. But try to do a little bit more of a deep dive into some of the Lions trade possibilities I think are going to happen. Robert, yeah, if I see her, him, whatever it may be in here today, it's one thing if you're going to be calm and everything, but yesterday, hey, you got an opinion, go for it. But, I'm not going to let it distract from everybody else. If I see that again today, probably just, go ahead and pause her. All right, what do we got? Agreed. Okay. Yep. Well, seems like it's the majority of the people out here. Good morning to you, James. Yeah. Good morning. John, what do you got? I finally made a live one. Well, congrats, man. Keep putting out a great show. Hey, thanks for that. I'm glad everybody's enjoying it. Berg's blocking. Yep. I'll get I'll get on that if he or she pops back up. Agreed. Well, it seems to be the majority of people. Hit that like button. Hey, thanks for that, brother Ken. Brent, good morning, Coach. Good morning to you too. All right, Phil, will the Lions bounce back? I think so, man. And you guys know Fridays I'll do a deeper dive into the schematics with both the teams, but we can get into at least a little bit today. So let's start. You guys probably know I like to start by evaluating both teams' lines, offensively and defensively. And so let's just focus on the Raiders for this segment. The Raiders' offensive line, I think, can be had. I think they really struggle on the interior, so the guards to the center with blocking assignments and being able to negotiate any kind of stunts. I watched a little bit of film on them. I'd say at least 3 games worth. And I'm not gonna say I watched every snap or play, but I just try to zoom through and get to pre-snap adjustments and stuff made. So watching that, those 3 guys struggle. They struggle with any kind of having to negotiate handoffs or stuff if somebody's coming after the quarterback. Now, also go with the tackles. Their left tackle, he's slow-footed. So what does that mean to me? Any kind of outside rusher is going to have a great opportunity to get past this guy, especially, and this is where I really wish we had James Houston. Houston is exceptional at getting low to the ground and maintaining speed to get upfield. Their tackle really struggles with anybody who can get low because it just seems like either there's something wrong with his hips or back where he just struggles to be flexible enough to get down and keep a proper blocking stance. The right tackle, I would say, is better in run blocking than pass blocking, but I think you're probably getting where I'm going with this. All 5 of them aren't great in pass blocking. Now, maybe they do something different. Maybe they go more 21 personnel, or that means they have 2 running backs, 1 tight end. You could see 12 personnel out of them, 2 tight ends, 1 running back. But I think that's what, if I'm the Raiders, I have to be aware of this, that they're going to have no chance against the Lions if they can't pass protect. Now, how does that lead into their running game? Well, the running game, even though Josh Jacobs, I think, is a pretty good running back, it's not producing. And you can say, yes, it's on him. I think he's making like 3 yards a carry. Maybe it's 3.5, something like that. But either way, you're setting your quarterback up to fail, sort of like last week with Goff, if you cannot run the ball because teams just tee off on your offensive lineman. And it is a growing trend, and I'd even say a concern of the NFL more and more, that the pass rushers are just advancing as far as abilities far faster than the offensive linemen. So if you don't have any reason to give them a little bit of hesitation because you can run the ball, that quarterback's a sitting duck. And I think that's whoever is going to be the quarterback for the Raiders this upcoming next game, Monday night. I think they're in a world of hurt. So you heard me talk about it after the game against the Ravens. Their defensive line and backers, when the backers did go, which wasn't often, but they did sometimes, they just totally disrespected our run game. They weren't even slightly worried about it. And I really think that's what the Lions should do in Monday night. If they can just flat out go after the quarterback, let the linebackers clean up the runs, and help out when possible on a running play. But I think they need to go all out to make the Raiders as one-dimensional as possible, and I think they'll have a lot of success. All right, probably went on too long there, but all right. Prather, what do you got? I'm more excited for the new uniforms. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. Would be rocking under the lights. Yeah, I've seen the designs. I'm guessing we all probably have. I'm indifferent on them. I don't hate them. I don't like them, but it will be nice to see them. I agree with you there. Wilson, hey, aloha, and good morning to you. I'm on break watching this show from here in Hawaii. That's awesome, man. Yeah, you've become quite the regular in here, and hey, I'm glad that it helps out with your later in the day work shift, man. I hope you enjoy it. All right, Sean, get over the Angela thing. Already been, yep, we're all gone. So I don't even think she's back or he's back or whatever it may be. So, Phil, good morning, Coach. Bat Dan, that's right. Yeah, well, a long story there how I became a Bat fan, but that's not for the channel. All right, Wilson, it's 1 a.m. out here. Well, hopefully you're enjoying it. And what time do you get done, Wilson? What time is it there when you're done? Brent, Lions will bounce back and crush the Raiders 42-10. I'm not far off in my prediction. I would say this. It's I would think we're going to. I don't know. I'd say we're going to win about somewhere around mid 40s. I was going to say to 17. So we'll just say I'll go with you 42-17. Don't call Dan. He lost his license last week. No, I've actually still selling houses. So thanks to that, brother Ken. But yeah, it's been a good 2 weeks. I sold 2 already this week and 2 last week. And then I've got a list of property today and Sunday. So that'd be 4 in this week. That's a good week for me, by the way. Yeah, I would take that kind of action any week. All right, Michael, what do you got? Be nice to leave the practice squad as the practice squad instead of inserting them into the actual games when the season's on the line this year. Go Lions. They might have to do some of that, though, Michael. I get what you're saying, but we might have to do it just out of necessity, especially in the running back room and maybe even the wide receiver room at this point. I won't be surprised if the Lions move up, somebody from a cornerback position or a secondary position to the regular season roster too. I'm kind of hoping and wondering, does Gilmore get a shot this week? He was active for the last game. He just didn't get on the field. Not that I can at least remember offhand. Ozzy Osbourne, by the way, first song I ever learned to play on the guitar was Crazy Train. Good morning, sir. It would be sad if the Lions don't get any trades on the deadline because like I said a couple minutes ago, Ozzy, I think we do have an opportunity. I think they are looking into it. A lot of times it just comes down to what you're willing to pay. And, it does seem like, and, just to try to repeat it, I get we talked about the Commanders possibility a couple of days ago, but it does seem like a lot more of the national media has picked up on that. Now, whether or not they've got more information than what I got, whatever day it was this week, that I can't answer. But I can say the Sweat and Allen rumors seem to be growing at a fairly good pace. So somebody knows something. I know what I was told. I do trust the person I spoke to, or persons, I guess it would be in the end. But I think there's some legitimacy to it. I get Brad Holmes, Campbell come out and say, hey, we don't want to change the locker room or whatever. But that's what you should say as a coach, because you don't want to come out and say, hey, we need to upgrade over you, because that does affect the locker room. Anyways, all right, going on. Phil, what do you got? Raiders are going to be ready for the Lions. Best to be prepared. Yeah, and I would agree. They're doing everything they can to save jobs. Their coaches, let me tell you, man, they've got to be fully aware, that coaching staff, that, hey, we are playing for checks at this point. We need to get some wins so we can stay more relevant longer and not get fired. But the same is also true for players. Even if a team is 0-16 or 1 in, whatever it's going to be at that point in the year, guys are still playing so they can put out tape that their agents can use to get them new contracts or new gigs if they don't remain with that current team. People have reasons to play until that final bell, and I get some of the star players or coaches maybe don't have to worry about it, but that's not the majority of the people out there. The majority of the people out there are constantly fighting for work. So just, food for thought for everybody. They do need help. Yes, I would agree. Their defense does. We've talked about it, Ozzy, on this show and, other spots. Man, they need a secondary pass rusher beyond probably any other need on this team. I'm starting to agree with more and more of you guys who have brought up the idea of getting another power back. I mean, I get we've got Gibbs, I get we got Montgomery, but the fact that both these guys have missed some time, I think if you are going to make a run this year and then in the playoffs, we're going to need probably a third option that's fairly legitimate. So I would be paying attention to that option as well. All right, Wilson, what do you got? Raiders will score points, but not enough to win. Another double-digit win for us heading into the bye. One pride. I'd say there's some real, legitimacy to what you're saying there, Wilson, because I do think Detroit's going to have an axe to grind. I think we all get that. They're going to want to reestablish themselves from a pride standpoint, whatever, come out there and do something. The other part is it's going to be incredibly packed at that game, and you can't tell me there aren't going to be more than a few people out there that are going to be, packed, enjoyed some pregame festivities, and going to make that place so loud and difficult for the Raiders, especially if you're talking about a newer backup. Maybe their rookie quarterback is playing. Man, it's going to be hard to negotiate or make any adjustments at the line. And, I'd hope with a rookie quarterback, especially one being thrown into the fire kind of last moment, that they won't put too much on his plate. But either way, I think they're in a bad spot, man. It doesn't mean they can't pull it off because yes, anybody can win any given Sunday, or in this case Monday. But whoever it's going to be, I think it's going to be a tall task for them. All right, Arshan, good morning. Overslept a little today. Hey, man, it happens. It happens. So don't worry about it. I'm just glad you're here. Sam, what do we got? 7 a.m. and we're talking Lions. I'm glad I'm retired. Hey, welcome to the show, man, and I hope you're enjoying it. And so, yeah, retired life, not there yet, but we got a couple more years. All right, what do we got? Nick, good morning. How do you feel about Kennedy coming back? I've always thought he was a guy we count on. I'm guessing, like we were talking a little bit ago about players or coaches, both always have reasons to keep playing, even if the game is over, the season's over, because you got to put tape out. To your point about Kennedy, think about this. This coaching staff clearly has some trust in him. Look what they've done the last few years when they've had him around, things like that. How they've spoken about him. There's a lot of faith in him. I would just say, while we know what you get out of him, I would like to see, Green or Drummond get out there. That being said, Kennedy, though, exactly the routes he's going to run, the fact he's already got a lot of familiarity with the offense, with the quarterback, with the staff. Yeah, it's not bad. Bergs, yes, correct. Every day at 7 a.m., 7 days a week. We're out here, man. Welcome aboard. Yes, I agree. Hey, you need anything, let me know. Put a comment in the section. But yeah, we're here every morning. Action. Oh yeah, the way Houston gets low and his bend, it's nuts, almost inhuman. Stays mobile the entire time. Yeah, and this is, if you guys want, you get bored or something this week, you could probably dig it up. My breakdown and evaluations on him. I did a bunch of videos on him last year. But you look at his ability to contort his knee while maintaining leverage and strength. So I don't know if I can really do it on the screen here, but watch his ankle. Yeah, I can't do it. When he plants, it plants here. That entire leg shifts over here. So he's able to keep leverage while having a 300 and some odd pound person pushing on him. It's just freaking nature stuff. That's when I do evaluations on players and stuff and go scouting, you're always looking for little things that, takes the 1% of athletes on this planet into the next echelon. And that's why I was really surprised that they went with Harris over Houston earlier in the year. I get Harris is far better in run defense than Houston. I get that. But there is zero comparison with anybody else on this roster when it comes to pass rushing. The kid is a complete nightmare to block. He even towards the latter part of last year got fairly decent at some bull rushes. It's just, if you watch his hands in the running game, he gets swallowed up. He doesn't get them outside. He doesn't get leverage. He should spend a lot of time with like a wrestling coach. That'd probably be great for him now that I think about it, because of all the different hand placements, leverage techniques wrestlers learn. Maybe Rodrigo could help him with that, because Rodrigo is excellent in those regards. But I'm really hoping that he gets healthy fairly soon, is out there, because that would help the defense exponentially, in my opinion. All right, Ryan. Hello, Tom Kennedy. According to some reports, he had a workout yesterday. Thoughts? Yeah, I probably already got this those comments after you posted that, Ryan, so I apologize. But I think he makes a lot of sense. You trust the guy. He knows the terminologies, the plays, the routes, the route trees, and that takes time. That's one thing I think Jameson Williams is still struggling with. He's running better routes. I did watch some of his stuff yesterday just to have some commentary on it. It's just, I think he still likes ball location, where Kennedy, he's got all that stuff down. He doesn't have Jameson's, God-given abilities, but he's got the other stuff that time has taught him. And I think in time, hopefully, Jameson Williams will too. All right, what do we got here? Why was Charles Harris benched, and what does he have to do to get back to the starting job? Good questions. So here's my thoughts. He's a captain on the team. I get it. They got a lot of faith in him, but he's not producing at a high enough clip. We're talking about what's happening with Hutchinson. Hutchinson's consistently drawing double team blocks, but that also means no team that we play identifies Harris as a threat. They're going to leave him in single block coverage 99% of the time. So that person should be getting a much higher win rate than what Harris is getting. Harrison's problem, when you watch the blockers, They get their hands in, they're getting him consistently inside his shoulder pads. And because he's not able to get outside the shoulder pads, they're illegally allowed to hold there. It's when he starts getting leverage and getting around them, they have to release. And that's when quarterbacks really get toasted. It's also when offensive linemen really struggle. So that's, real quick, I think they decided last week to just try somebody else. Pascal being activated probably hurt Harris, but the other part is they want to go with the younger acquirer brother, Julian, just to give him a try. I think it's a sign that they're desperate to get pressure from somebody opposite side, Hutchinson. And yeah, unfortunately, last game, and probably not a good measuring stick for anybody. It just didn't work. All right, Wilson, what do you got? Doesn't matter who the QB is for the Raiders, they're in trouble! Exclamation point. Ford Field will be rocking, and we will be out for blood after what Stephen A. Smith and the rest of the media has said. Total disrespect. I get it. Yeah, and that's why I think we're going to come in and probably drop 40 points on them. I mean, heck, man, it could get wild out there. I also think, if you watch Gibbs, and I'm assuming Monty doesn't play this game, but if you watch Gibbs, I'm going to base this basically on the Atlanta game and the Ravens game. His progression, his development is there. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of the kid. I think he's got the real opportunity this game to break out. I also think Jameson Williams does too, just because there's a lot of things setting up with that secondary. Now, also, I'll say this for the Raiders secondary. It's not bad. The Raiders do have a pretty decent secondary. It's just not helped because outside of Crosby, they don't have a whole lot on that front line. And schematically, if you watch some of their reads or what they're asking their defensive linemen to do to get to the quarterback, I get you got one player I'd say is elite in Crosby. The rest of them are they're okay. They're not great. They're not bad. But between that front four and the linebackers, there's just not a whole lot there. So I think a lot of things again are setting up for not just those two players, but a lot of players to have a good game. Assuming we don't turn the ball over or anything like that, I think Detroit's offense should do fairly well. And I've already talked about the defense, and I think we'll have a pretty good spot there too. All right, probably going on too long with some of these topics, but Justin, what do you got? What's up, guys? What's up to you, and good morning. Barry, good morning from Florida. Go Lions. Amen to you. Hopefully you're making it a great one. Wilson, my work shift ends at 6 a.m., noon Michigan time. Well, look at the bright side. You're in the home stretch. You want less than 6 hours ago. Ozzy, what do you got? Do you think the Lions won't get a trade on the deadline? I think that, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Ozzy, here's my anticipation. Washington or other teams that lose Sunday are going to probably be a lot more apt to make trades. Some teams, we'll use Minnesota as an example. If they would have lost against the 49ers and then lost another game, they would have been sellers. I think there's a lot of teams that are close enough to where they can say, we can keep the fans engaged, which is what the NFL wants. The NFL wants every team to be as relevant as long in the season as possible. But there are some teams that I think the front office gets a pretty good idea. They lose this weekend. The reality of their situation starts to become a lot more clear. So with that being said, I think the Lions, Brad Holmes, if you look at his tenure with the Rams and with the Lions, plus what he's done with the Lions, yeah, I think he's legitimately making calls and trying to test the waters on people. He's trying to keep chatter going with people. He's trying to say, hey, we're going to offer this. We know you want that. What can we do to get a little bit closer? Sort of like in real estate when you're negotiating deals. Usually if it's a stable market, you're doing everything you can to get both sides to kind of come down to meeting fairly common ground. And I do believe that's what he's doing right now. All right, Ozzy, go Lions Nation. Yes, I agree. Arkshin, Gilmore certainly deserves a shot. I would agree. The way he played the preseason and how he progressed developmentally throughout each game, I think he's got some abilities. He just needs repetitions. He needs game experience. So we'll see with that what happens. But I think, man, do you want to keep putting Will Harris out there? Man, I sure don't, at least. Robert, how concerned are you with JMO? Not much. I mean, to me, I've talked about this on the channel. I believe this is his rookie year. Yes, he got some stuff last year, but if you look at a lot of his stuff, I'll just use Lions players I've watched over my lifetime. I don't really think his progression is a whole lot different than Herman Moore's, Robert Clark's, Mike Williams, Kelvin Johnson. They all had some struggles. The one thing that probably helped a couple of those guys is they were closer to being the primary targets on their respective teams their rookie years. Herman Moore had a little bit of a luxury in that he had some real good receivers around him when he was a rookie in his even second year, so he could progress slowly. Jameson Williams, when you watch him, so let's just use the Ravens game because that's his most recent game. His release on the line, his ability to get open, that's there. That's not a problem at all. I think some of it is just subtle nuances where the route tree. So look at the Goff pick. To me, that was a route tree development. So what is a route tree? Because I'm guessing maybe not everybody knows that. When you're given a particular route to a receiver, there's usually 3 different progressions they have to read based on the coverages, where to cut, where to go, etc. The quarterback has to read that too. So a lot of times when a quarterback throws a pick, everybody goes, man, that thing was just way off. Where the heck was he throwing? It's because he read something, the receiver read something else. And that's how detailed NFL offenses or college offenses can be. So I believe the majority of where he's at with things is just trying to think so much. I think he's got to get over the thinking part. When he does that, I think his hands will improve too, because he didn't really see a lot of the drops in college. Maybe I just didn't pay enough attention, but I think when he just gets more comfortable, then the hands are going to show up more. He's going to catch more. He's going to break out. And once he does, he's a weapon without question. So we just got to help get him there. By the end of this season, if he's still having all these problems, to me, that would be the red flag at that point. All right, mile marker. I'm hoping we use practice squad guys because they already know the system. That's got to be worth something. I would agree with that. There's a ton of truth to that. And that's also why I think Tom Kennedy is being considered to come back, because he already knows most of this stuff, guys. So yeah, good point there, mile marker. I will say, no, we really need Allen and Fuller. Talk about an upgrade to the defense. Both of those would be exponentially. And if you guys watched the show when I did the informational breakdown on both, and Allen next to McNeil with Hutchinson and then Houston on the other side, that's a legit front. And yes, maybe Houston ain't great against the running game, but you know what? Figure it out, because you can now go kill a quarterback. And I think that's what we need to do. But they don't ask me. I just offer my opinions. I'm with Brent. I'm with Salim, retired and focused on the Lions instead of work. Love to see Gilmore on the field. I think there's real possibility he gets there. So we'll see what happens. Brother Ken, J-Mo dropping passes. Is that the receiver's fault, Coach? No, it's. Yes, it is the receiver's fault when he drops. But again, Ken, I think a lot of it is he's so focused on everything he's trying to process that it affects his receiving. When he can calm down, I'm expecting the drop rate to diminish. But I've been wrong before, man. I just think he's a big enough weapon where, again, as long as if the coaching staff can see that he's progressing a little bit each game, then by the end of the year, you've got something there. If he's just staying flat, even, or even regressing, which would be horrible, that's going to be a concern. So how you're going to address it, I'll leave that to the people getting paid by the coaches to figure that out. Phil, have teams figured Ben out and can stop his scheme? So there is some truth to that, I believe. So last year was really the first year of quote-unquote Ben Johnson offense. Just like when the Baltimore Ravens had their first go with Lamar Jackson and some of their triple pull formations and stuff like that in the running game, caught everybody off guard. They just looked dominant until the playoffs. So what happens is the longer you give defensive coordinators to watch you, somebody starts figuring out a few things. And we can slow them down a little bit by doing this. Team A figured that out. Team B figures out something else. Team C starts figuring out stuff. And now everybody is stealing from team A, B, and C to slow you down. Watching a lot of the formations we've been getting this year defensively, go back and watch last year. The defenses are more aware of a lot of our formations and stuff. The one thing that Ben Johnson does a great job of is most of his playbook is based out of the same formation setup. So they don't really change obvious packages from, say, I formation to 12 formation, 13 formation, 21 formation, whatever. They keep the majority of this stuff fairly similar, so they look alike. But yes, teams are starting to get a little bit more wise to them. I guess I should have just said that. But come back, Sam. How does Will Harris keep staying on the team? That is one of the great mysteries of our lifetime. Who built the pyramids, all that type of stuff, and how does Will Harris stay on the team? He seems like a great guy. Seems like a nice teammate, all that stuff. I just don't see where he does any one thing particularly well, but he does a lot of things okay. The problem is okay usually gets beat by a good player or an elite player. So we'll see. Meth Diesel, what do we got? Did you hear about a trade with the Colts? I have not. So I'll tell you what I'll do after the show. I'll put out a group message to a couple of my friends and see if anybody's heard something. If they've heard something or if they've heard something, I'll let you know. Randy, JMO needs more touches. Lions need to utilize him like Deebo Samuel. There's some similarities between the two. I don't know if I'd want the JMO running in between the tackles of the guards, but they both are game changers for sure. I just think, again, not to keep beating the horse, you just need to give him this season to kind of develop because, again, it more or less is his rookie year. All right, Phil, if the Lions play poorly, the Boo Birds is going to be active. Yeah, and if somehow we were to drop this game and go into the bye, oof, it's going to be a long month for Lions fans. Ryan, what do you got? I was at the Barry versus Bo game back in the day. Talk amongst ourselves, SNL skit. Yeah, and, without going to SNL, as far as the game, yeah, there was tons of hype for that one. And I still think to this day, Bo Jackson, again, he didn't play for a long period of time in the NFL. He might have been one of the most dangerous weapons I ever seen. I mean, that dude just is sort of like Barry, same type of personality, introverted, not a real rah-rah kind of guy. But my goodness, as elusive and lower body strength, powerful as Barry was, Bo was he was just a missile getting launched on every play. I felt bad for people trying to attack him, like the Boz. All right, Trump's he is friendly with someone's wife. That could be true. It seems like a lot of times JMO gets a pass through thrown his way. He's surprised. It could be nerves. And I think he is fighting a lot of nerves and a lot of growth. Again, I still think this is more or less his rookie year. All right, what do we got? The 313. Good morning. Appreciate the content and channel. Yeah, thanks for that, man. Hopefully everybody's enjoying it. We're here every day of the week, 7 a.m. We go till 7:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere in that range. JMO doesn't have to work on catching the ball with his hands. And they definitely have to work on timing. JMO does have to work on catching the ball with his hands, and work on timing. And that's kind of what I was saying about the route tree concepts and things like that. I think he's still learning those. I don't think that's one thing I will say at Alabama. He didn't have to do a lot of that. So some of this is new to him. When he was at Ohio State, I can't comment on that. I never really, watched him when he was there. So that's why I'll go with that. All right, Don, what do we got? Who are we trading for? No new news or updates yet today. If there is something, I'll let you know. But the trade deadline, it's approaching. And I think if we're going to do something, it would probably be Sunday night or Monday morning. I guess with us playing Monday night, there's some possibility for Tuesday. But I would think you're going to pull that trigger. You're going to try to get that player in sooner versus later so they can get here. And basically, you've got 2 weeks to get them adjusted and acclimated before they would actually hit the field because of the bye. Phil, his leg was broken. He is not going to be in game shape for a while. Okay, yeah. I would agree with that too, by the way, Phil. Adams, do you think JMO will actually catch the ball? Yeah, just you throw him enough passes, he's going to catch some, right? Hopefully there's not too many drops. Jesse, hey, Dan, is it trade talk with just the Commanders, or is Brad talking to other teams? Great question. So at least as far as this week, yes, I know he engaged in some new chatter with the Commanders. As far as the last 3 weeks or so. I know he's talked to Denver, Tennessee, the Commanders, obviously. I think the other one was Pittsburgh. Don't hold me down that last one, but that sounds right. But all of them were fairly similar, looking for some defensive line help. Most of those players were on the interior. Jeffrey Simmons was one of them with Tennessee. Obviously, Allen in Washington. I cannot remember the Steelers guy's name. I want to say there was one with Denver, and there were a couple of guys in the secondary too. I know they at least chatted about Surtain, but I didn't really get the impression there was any kind of legitimacy to it. I think it was more just kicking tires. There was a cornerback for, I want to say Tennessee, Washington with Fuller. I want to say there was one other one too, but I can't remember off the top of my noggin. So sorry about that. JP, good morning to you too. Don, what do you got? Phil, are you a real Lions fan? Every time I come in here, you seem I'll leave that to you too. All right, Don Reed, okay. Jason, what do you got? Harris probably going to be traded, benched, or to keep healthy. Just which Harris, I guess. Charles Harris or Will Harris. Both of them, I think, are on the struggle bus right now. They're both playing, but I don't think you're getting the play out of them you want from either one of them. All right, Brent, what do you got? When Houston comes back, I hope AG doesn't make him drop into coverage and lets him just go after the quarterback. I'd agree, but I would also say this, Brent, using just the last game in Green Bay a season ago when we ended up ending Aaron Rodgers' tenure there with a loss, they dropped him into coverage, and he wasn't bad at it. I thought, man, they're really going to work with him in the offseason on run defense, leverage, hand placement and those things, coverage skills. I was just really surprised that they went with Charles Harris. And I get Charles Harris is a more balanced against passing, getting to the quarterback and run defense, where Houston's basically all getting after the quarterback and very little run defense. But man, oh man, I'm talking about this too much. Houston's exactly what this defense needs right now, and they can't get him back from the injured reserve fast enough, in my opinion. Jay Mommy, the Lions have been working on Houston in coverage. It seems to be something that the Lions wanted him to be better at. That was put on hold. Yeah, because of the injury, put on hold 100%. But hopefully, even when the player's injured, you can still work with them on certain things. What I've tried to do with injured players over the years, try to have them work on the visual stuff. So getting them in, breaking down tape, formations, plays, what's going to happen here and there. I think Jameis Williams would do well with that if you could put him through some simulations to help his brain process the information. So maybe he's a little less nervous, skittish, whatever it is, when he's running those things live. I mean, think about some people, especially if you have an anxiety complex or personality, you're out there playing in front of 70,000 people and you're aware there's a few million people watching the games. That can really hit some people. It would be interesting if I could ever hear him talk enough to try to get an idea where he is from a personality standpoint. Because if he does have some anxiety, that would explain a lot of the drops, the issues with some of the route trees. But anyways, all right, going on. Phil, I'm a player and a realist and a coach. Not negative, but I don't drink Kool-Aid. Fair enough. You think J-Mo will catch the ball? Yes. All right. J-Mo seems a little dumb to me. I just think he's a more quiet personality, introverted, probably a good way to put it. Good morning, Silver Surfer. Good morning to you too. Jesse, if Ben Johnson is this great offensive mind, don't you think they should be able to get J-Mo into the right spot to make an impact? I think they're working on things, but look at this coaching staff. So let's use the 2 first-rounders from this year. They didn't just throw them on the field. They're making them earn it. Now, Jack Campbell, I think for 2 straight weeks, you've seen his reps go up, which also means you got to take reps away from other people. Gibbs, that's different because obviously Montgomery's out. But for the second straight time where he's been given a start, his performance is steadily improving. And, I thought he did real well against Kansas City too. Phil, are you too negative? Nah, but I'm pretty open to everybody. So, hey, I don't have a problem with anybody in the chat. So, Jason, J-Mo's still young. Yep, a little immature. I wouldn't say dumb. He made it to the NFL. Yeah, and I'm not saying he's dumb or immature or anything. Again, just my opinion. Take it for whatever you want. I think he's a little introverted and very nervous at this point. I mean, he's whatever 21-year-old kid or whatever age he is. He's aware of all the comments. He's on social media. He knows everybody's talking about him, his mama's mama. So there's pressure on him and he's feeling it. All right, Met Diesel. Dan, what's up with the Colts trades rumors? I'll try to get an update for you guys a little bit later today. Like I said, I'll try to get on the air around 12:30 and do a deep dive after this, after I get my morning Mountain Dew too, and see what I can come up with as far as any kind of trade updates, and I'll put a show on. So if you guys want, hit your whatever bells that let you know about stuff. All right, One Funky, this fan base is amazing and not in a good way. Well, hey, it's fandom everywhere, man. So you're going to agree with some people, you're going to disagree, as long as we're respectful. So what's the latest on Hendon Hooker? Is he ready to back up? I think next year, yeah, he'll be the backup. This year, they're probably going to take their time with him. I just don't see him to need to have him out on the field just yet. Are you serious? Some players in the NFL scored a 12 on the Wonderlic. This is also true. Yeah, and you'd be surprised on some of the scores that come out of there and in other sports. Yeah, Bridgewater's the backup this year. I would agree. Don, beating the Raiders will only make national media say the Lions can only beat bad teams or teams not at their best. If we would have beaten the Ravens, it's considered a win, putting the NFL on notice. I mean, we beat Kansas City. Okay, I get there. Everybody's going to say it's an asterisk, but they built up the Green Bay game. The Green Bay game, we murdered them. So now all of a sudden, it's no longer, hey, this is a heavyweight matchup. Hey, Green Bay's terrible. Tampa Bay, they did the same thing. Hey, 2 first-place teams. Both teams only have 1 loss each. Yada, yada. You beat them, though. I just really think that the Ravens, we got out-coached. We got out-physicaled. And we got out-momentumed. And the Ravens, again, they took that opening kickoff for a reason. They knew where to hit us and how to hit us. And they weren't shy about it. They were slapping us in the face and talking about our mamas as they did it. And, you guys heard me talk about it earlier in the week. The problem I have, the biggest problem with the game is, and Ben Johnson's earned some street cred, so I'm not coming at him. I'm just saying, me as a coach is not Ben Johnson as a coach. I could see where their strengths are defensively. I'm sure he can too. But spread them out. Put Baltimore and that defense in a spot where both those linebackers can't stay on the field. Now you can motion somebody into the backfield. Put, Gibbs out wide or whatever. You've got to do everything you can to put the other team, whether it's on offense or defense, in a less advantageous position. The one problem I really did have is that when we came out our initial personnel group and then we did it for 4 straight drives, we just kept pounding our heads at their strength instead of trying to make them adjust to us. And, but it's not everybody coaches the same. So a lot of people probably look at me and go, he is the village idiot. They might be right. All right. Hey, what do you got? Acquire Brothers, Harris, Bugs. These guys are not starters material if the Lions want to go deep in the playoffs. Shouldn't they start looking for better options to make a run at the playoffs? Hey, I think, put this way, Romeo Quarry, and I get he's been hurt, but there's a lot of guys on this team like him, Tracy Walker, that were starters for the Lions, but they've drafted well enough or players have progressed well enough where a lot of those guys are now backups. I think the Lions overall, there's very few legitimate holes in our roster on offense, defense, special teams, yada, yada. But where are the strengths? Where are the playmakers? I'd say Hutchinson is a playmaker. And you can argue there's some other people out there that potentially will be. Branch, I think, is if he keeps playing the way he is, then when he's going to progress, he's going to become a playmaker. Anzalone, I think, makes plays. That doesn't make him a playmaker. The secondary, Cam Sutton, is very, very good. I just don't think he's quite that level where he's a playmaker. Now, some of that is he doesn't get targeted, so everybody's like, he's sound enough. And Will Harris is bad enough. We'd rather just go after Will Harris. And at the start of the year, Jerry Jacobs. But I do think this, we do need to add some playmakers to this team. Just players that are very rare. That top, I try not to be Phil, but I'm just trying to also be honest with what I see. So keep that in mind. All right, Super Bowl or or bust. Yes, I got you, man. Very consistent there. All right, Ryan. I think the last week, Coach Campbell, due to injuries, changed his practice plan. I think he regretted that. This week's practices probably had some punch. Yep, and we'll get a better idea probably later today how practices go. They'll be hitting the field, and don't hold me to my math here, about 3 hours. So, all right. Hey, good morning to you, Phil. Negative and okay. Well, you guys handle that. Trump's signed Sue costs you no draft capital. Maybe they should look at it. I don't know what he's got left, but maybe he's got something left. Who do we get to replace Marvin Jones? It sounds like they're just going to promote from within and then maybe add Tom Kennedy to it. Sue has been gone for 10 years. Let him go. This is also true. Tom Kennedy, yes. All right, let's not argue. Let's not do that, man. We're a community here. Do you think Broderick Martin is close to getting some snaps? That's a great question. And maybe after the bye, I am starting to get a little surprised we haven't seen him activated yet. But then again, I don't see him in the practice field. You bring him up, who you putting down? That will be the other part. It's just, man, is he that far back, or is everybody just playing simply better than him? Without seeing him actually on the field in some capacity, whether practice or a game, it's hard for any of us to really say. I'm a big Vikings fan this Sunday. So you wanted to beat the Packers. Got it. All right. Don, you won't get ready. Oh boy. 12 years, never missed a game due to injury. Yeah, he's been a physical monster. Okay. All right. Sue. All right. We're really on the Sue thing, huh? Martin is on bus list with JMO. We'll see what happens. Thomas, hey, good morning to you. Haven't seen you in a bit. James Williams, for me, has until Thanksgiving to get his stuff together. If he can't catch 3 to 5 passes per game, I'm done. Well, hey, that he's got a little bit of a window left. Then let's see. Like I'm saying, and you're not wrong. I'm just saying I just want to see game to game small progressions. If you do that, then over the course of the season, that will add up quite a bit. All right, Sue isn't coming back. No, but he might be vacationing in Hawaii. Ravens problem. Yeah. All right. Yep. No naughty words here. All right. Good morning. Hey, Gary. Good morning to you too. I made it. Wish they would go all in. Allen, Fuller, and Burr. Boy, that'd be something. Then we got all those dudes. All right. Oh boy. Okay. Mobile QBs are Aaron Glenn's kryptonite. Yeah, I would say this. You guys heard me talk about his clear tendencies, what he likes to do with a front four against a mobile quarterback. It works sometimes, but I just think he can't run it every down. Change of pace, fine, but you've still got to get in there and fluster quarterbacks, get them out of the rhythm, get them rattled, get them to throw the ball a little late, a little early, a little high, a little low, whatever. And that's unfortunately not happening. James Williams has been running passing routes, catching footballs for 10 years, exclamation point. If he can't get that stuff together by Thanksgiving, dump his butt. Yes. I'm dealing with Dan, good day, everyone. Hey, Phil, just have a good one. Just relax, man. Just, hey, have a Mountain Dew. Just watch the show, man. Just watch the show. Ozzy, is Houston set to come back this year? Yeah, I'm guessing probably right around Thanksgiving, maybe a week before. So we'll see, but somewhere in that time frame. Steve, per sources, Lions are trading for Allen, Fuller, Henry, Burns, Hunter, and Patrick Sustained, confirmed. Yes, and I think they're also trying to bring back Rodney Peete to compete for the starting quarterback spot. So, Steve, I concur. All right, Thomas, give Jameson a chance, at least until Thanksgiving, and sign Coda. Yeah, Coda, where's he at? Kansas City? Is that right, guys? Kansas City now? I don't know. Chiefs already have Coda. Yep, you're right, J Mommy. Ryan, if Gilmore dressed last game, why didn't they play him or Lucas Chase when the game got out of hand? That's one thing I would say to you, Ryan, is I was a little surprised we didn't pull players, at least by the middle of the fourth quarter just to keep them healthy. But is what it is. Kennedy over Jamo all day long. Yeah, if we could just put Jamo's athleticism in Kennedy, you'd have something there. Or could you put Kennedy? Just a thought. All right, Phil. Great. I'm sure I'm still waiting. All right, Willie, what do you got? Take the training wheels off the young players and put them in the game. Gilmore, Jamo, Lucas, Martin, Green, let them grow. Yeah, and I'm hoping there'll be some games the second half of the season, or maybe the fourth quarter. If we're up comfortably, you can start seeing some of those guys leak into the game and get them some game reps. Could you make an argument the last game of the season, if it's not needed either one way or another way for us to do this, that, or the other thing, that maybe Hendon Hooker should be out there? And what is this? Somebody sent $5. Hey, Wings of Goats. Hey, thanks for that. I don't know if I've had that before, but yeah, sent $5. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. I will use that towards my morning Mountain Dew. Don't know. I know there's a way to put it on the screen, but I don't know how to do that. So sorry if I'm a little knob at that, but there we go. There we go. Hey, I figured it out. Thanks for that. So yeah, I will have a Mountain Dew today and say thank you for that. All right, Jerry, what do you got? But seriously, thank you for that. That was very kind of you, Jerry. Yeah, I agree. Give Jamo a chance. He's only had 21 targets over his career. Yeah, and he's still learning things. And like I said, not every personality hands things the same. Lone Star Lions. Someone with Trump in their name would. All right, let's avoid any kind of digs here. Howdy, Dan. Love your show. Thanks, that Michael, and good to see you this morning. Willard, Ronnie Pete is coming back. Boy, if we could bring him and Eric Kramer back, I'd say Super Bowl. What? At least 2 out of the next 3 years. Hey, all. Awesome. Be kind. I need my boyfriend back. Oh boy. Have a fabulous day. I'm guessing that means it's about that time. All right, 1 or 2 more, and then I got to get to the GF there. Jerry, I would rather the Packers win since we already beat the Packers. That's an idea. Plus, you would keep Minnesota and the Packers about even. So I don't know who I'm going to be rooting for. Maybe they can both just tie. How about that? Curtis Schultz, Star Wars Squawk Box. Ooh, I like Star Wars. Big time. Trades after Sunday, I'm in for a bit this week. Yeah, now, like I said, probably around 12:30 or so, I'll try to get a video out to you guys with some thoughts. So, if you're not busy or whatever, be ready for that. Kirby Joseph seems like he's taking a step backwards. It could be, or it could be the offensive coordinators are trying to avoid his areas a little bit more. That being said, I do know he's gotten burned in a few different pickups out of his there. He's normally single high safety, and he's basically playing zone up there. He has gotten burned a couple times. So, yes, I agree with that. Teddy Two Gloves, correct. All right, 1 or 2 more. Because with Houston being able to return soon, the only thing I realistically see they trade for is corner. I could also see us selling a couple guys. Who would you sell? I guess maybe just some depth parts. But then, of course, if you sell some depth parts, you have less parts yourself. So, I don't know. That's a good thought there. All right, well, Wilson, the Lions didn't have Montgomery for the Ravens game, asterisk for the Ravens. You should get Tirico to say that. Let's see. No more excuses for Jamo. He's been with the team 18 months. He's got to learn. This guy learned that stuff. Yes. Yeah, let's hope he figures some stuff out sooner here. All right, what do you got? Do you help with credit repairs? No, but I do have somebody that can specifically work with you to help with that. They've got a pretty good track record, and I probably started working with them the late 90s. So they went to the 2001, 2002 pullback in the housing market and stock market, and then the 2008 through, I guess you could say, 11 situation. So, yeah, get my number off the start of the video and shoot me a text, and I'll get you somebody who can help you with that. Aaron Glenn does not know how to improvise or adapt. Yeah, I would say he's still got to progress as a DC. And just like Ben Johnson does too, you see their in-game adjustments and sometimes the lack of them or how delayed they are. What have you seen with both of our losses? Experienced coaches doing a couple subtle things that we don't have answers for. And the only way these coaches learn it is just from going through it in the grind. I can look back over my, time as a coach and the things that used to get me when, I was starting to coach in the 90s, don't get me anymore, but that doesn't mean somebody can't invent something that I haven't seen before, and then I got to learn to adjust to it. Do you think we can get running back Derrick Henry? I think he'd be a great fit. That running back room, while I do think we could add to it, that thing would get packed. All right, 55 minutes in. The Mountain Dew isn't going to get any colder, so it's time for me to go. Again, I'll try to have something up around 12:30 today for you guys if you're bored at work or if you're retired or just, whatever it may be. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Trying to get to 4,000 by kickoff Monday. If we can get to 4,100, that'd be even better. Hit the like button. Go have a Mountain Dew. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you all next on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.